So buying your own asphalt plant, I mean, gives you control of the mix design that you have, the temperature that your mix comes out at, quality of the mix that is based on what you consider quality mix. You're always first in line. And then, having your own mix is probably the most important thing would be control your prices, control how much it costs to make.
And welcome to the Steel and Dirt Podcast. Today we're speaking with Carlos Cardenas from Asphalt Drum Mixers. This is a leading manufacturer of high-quality asphalt plants for contractors and asphalt producers. We've been doing lots of instructional videos talking about asphalt. So in this episode, we're going to talk about how all of you asphalt paving contractors out there can start making your own hot mix asphalt, as well as how some of the current asphalt producers can get more efficient with their current plant. Carlos, thanks so much for joining us on this timely topic.
Thank you for having me, Troy. Appreciate it.
Well, we really appreciate you and your knowledge and sharing with everyone. Now, for the asphalt paving contractors who are not making any of their own hot mix, tell us what they're missing out on by not producing their own.
Well, most contractors have to deal with a lot of stuff that's out of their control. Things like, long lines, plant shutdowns, mixed quality that is based on, I guess, somebody else's thought of quality. Maybe it might not be what you think of it. This mixed design, basically you have to take what you get when you show up to the plant. Sometimes you get moved in line from the front to the back because maybe a bigger customer needs an emergency mix. Times that the plants are open might not fit your schedule. You may not be able to get mix as late as you want, or things like that you always have to kind of work around as a paving contractor. And if you're the smaller of the customers, you're probably going to suffer the most from that kind of thing. So buying your own asphalt plant, I mean, gives you control of the mix design that you have, the temperature that your mix comes out at, quality of the mix that is, based on what you consider quality mix. You're always first in line. And then, having your own mix is probably the most important thing would be controlling your bottom line. You control your prices, basically. You can control how much it costs to make that mix. The more efficient you become, the more money you can save, which, you can pass on to your customers or to your bottom line, either one, right?
For contractors who aren't experienced with asphalt plants, who are probably as ignorant about it as I seem to be already, what are some of the basics they need to know? Like if they're wanting to get started with their own, what are some of the basic things they need to think about?
Some of the basics before you start off, you have to be on top of, the permitting process is probably the most uh, time consuming. You need to know whether, the area that you're in may already have too many asphalt plants, and they might not allow another one. They may already have a clause in there that won't allow any more asphalt plants. You have to make sure your site that you plan on putting it on is zoned for industrial. Then you have to see if your neighbors around that area. Sometimes you get too close to residentials and you'll have trouble getting a permit. You might end up in court sometimes to try and fight, even if it's zoned industrial. So the permitting process is one of the biggest ones. Also, financing, knowing where you're going to get the money from, how long you plan on, financing for, the size of the plant that you need. You need to know your market. You need to know how much you need and whether you're going to sell to other people as well as for yourself. So that tells you, how much mix you're going to need per year. And then you also have to forecast for the future when you buy an asphalt plant. You don't want to buy one this year and then need a bigger one the next year, right? So you have to forecast. Am I growing? Is my market growing? Am I planning on getting new customers? So all that stuff makes a difference on, when you need to start actually looking for. A lot of people think that you can just pick up the phone and buy an asphalt plant in a short amount of time. That may have been true, many years ago, but today the way things are, you need truly to start probably a year or two prior. You need to looking at manufacturers, looking at, like I said, permitting stuff, your market, that kind of thing. All that stuff takes time to. That's all that has to happen before you even consider, what brands of plants you're going to buy, what manufacturer you might call. You want to go look at some plants so you can see how they're built, how they run, talk to other owners, see what they say about the product that they purchased. Um, that's the kind of thing that we try to make sure that all our customers that come to us, uh, they do that before we make them, an offer for a purchase. It's a big purchase, no matter how big of a contractor you are. It's a large amount of money you're spending, and we want to make sure that it's spent correctly, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's kind of reflect back on the last couple of 3 years because we went through the major part of the pandemic. We're now in some milder portion of the pandemic. What were the initial impacts on your business and how everything happened, and how has it changed? Maybe in the last 6 months or a year, as far as things ramping back up.
well, one of the first things that was impacted is this business has always been known for face to face. When you quoted somebody, when you would go visit their site, talk to them in person. It was very personable. They would come visit the factory. That kind of stuff just disappeared almost to the point where everybody got used to not doing it. That it doesn't happen as often as it used to. One of the other things that impacted us was, well, travel. Right, travel changed a lot, and because we do travel a lot, or we used to travel a lot, that had a lot of effect. Service department, they travel more than anybody else. Hotel stays, that kind of thing. Prices, the price of everything went up. Obviously, everything got more expensive, so all that stuff had to be adjusted. Um, Things like deadlines, kind of were, well, basically out of our control, because a lot of the products that we purchase, the delivery times had extended to, literally unreasonable amounts. Something that was, a week to get is, 20 weeks, 30 weeks. Some even tell you that, you're not going to see it for a year. And then, sometimes you get a 2 week delivery, and then 2 days before it's supposed to be there, you get a phone call and they tell you it's going to be another 8 weeks. And it's a horrible unknown, because you're trying to control that delivery for that customer, for that plant. And they're waiting on it. They want to start as soon as possible. And we've been fortunate, where we have stocked up on a lot of things to be able to control that. So when we are ordering things, we're doing a lot more forecasting. We're forecasting for probably almost 2 years ahead. So we're ordering things, a lot of things in advance. I mean, everything from motor control centers to, we're guessing what motors might be on a plant, to burner sizes and things like that, so that we can get everything in time. When we do sell something, it'll be ready on time, so we can keep our promise of delivery, basically.
So let's jump into a contractor has got a plant up. He's successfully operating. He's now an asphalt producer. What can he do now to optimize that plant to make it better?
I think the most important thing is maintenance. It doesn't make your plant better than it was when it was new, but it keeps it at that level, right? And that is probably the most important thing, to be able to maintain your production, rather than losing it and then try to catch up from there. So maintenance is very, very important to try to keep that plant at its optimum. There are a lot of things that you can do to get a little bit, to get more productive, I should say, more efficient. Moisture control in your aggregates, is a big thing. You can cover aggregates so that they don't get, so they don't collect as much water. Turning your piles, learning how to pull from your piles is a thing that some people don't consider. Your loader or operator would dig in the same spot, and the deeper you get into that pile, the wetter the material gets. So the more the plant struggles to dry it uh, to make the mix. So circulating the piles or turning the piles is a thing that you can do. Keeping track of your fuel consumption, because it'll tell you when your plant is not operating at its optimum. Making sure that you're running that burner, which is the main unit, at peak capacity, right? At its most productive rate, I guess I should say. Other things you can do is adding more storage, so you can maybe hold more hot mix or different mixes for different jobs or different customers that you might be feeding. Adding more aggregate bins so that you can have more materials in your mix design. The more bins you have, the easier it is to control that quality of that mix that you're trying to make. Uh, and then there are also um, components that you can add to the plant that maybe you don't have, such as like I said, fuel meters, controls for your tank farm, sensors for moisture, call boxes that alert you when there's a problem at the plant site, maybe cameras so you can keep track of, or keep watch what how the machine is running, and things like that. There's a lot of things that you can do. It's just a matter of calling your the plant manufacturer, or one of the other plant manufacturers that you might be dealing with, to give you options of what you can do. We can do that kind of stuff for, well, basically any brand.
Makes sense. On the maintenance side, how much of that is like scheduled and predictive maintenance? And then I'm sure there has to be a good crew on hand if there's a breakdown who can take care of those issues. But as far as preventive, predictive maintenance, is that, I'm sure, just as big of a key as it would be in any other industry.
Oh, yes, yes. So our manuals all come with a list of all the maintenance that's supposed to be scheduled, how often it's supposed to be done, the the type of, uh, whether it's a per week, per month, per year, that kind of thing, and then descriptions of how to do it, how to go about doing it, so you can do it. But a lot of people don't read the manuals, right? So, but just calling if you don't know how to do something, it helps. If you have a question, if you're doubting, if a bearing looks weird, if you don't know if you don't know what you're looking at, per se, for instance, is it just dirty, or is the steel changing color, type of thing, where it's getting too hot, that kind of thing, a noise that maybe sounds different, those kind of things. If you're not sure, it never hurts to call and ask, for a suggestion, and that kind of thing. All our service guys are are equipped to answer almost any question. For I say almost, because obviously not everybody knows everything, but yeah, I mean, there's somebody here that can always help here for that kind of thing.
One of the things I was looking at here on the notes was, when is it the right time to purchase additional plants? And I guess we're looking at based on, well, we've just got too much work in this one, or we've got more demand over here. What are some of the things you guys see when somebody moves on to a second plant?
Well, it would be exactly what you just said. As you build your customer base, you start growing, uh, in territory, or as far as project sizes, things like that. So you might buy a plant that was portable initially, and you take it to your projects wherever they are, and then essentially you grow your market enough, in a certain area, where you think maybe, hey, I need to put a permanent plant there, because I do most of my stuff around here, and then I can use my portable to go around to even farther projects, right? Or you could, or the opposite. You start off with a permanent plant, and then you start building customer base, you start expanding your territory. So then you want to purchase a mobile plant so you can take it, to other sites, to that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a matter of growing, or you may just have so much more work that you just need another another plant somewhere else. So it's
So now you've piqued my interest about your products. That's where we want to get to on meat of potatoes. We want to talk about what ADM offers. So you're talking about portable and you're talking about fixed places. Tell me everything that you guys do to get these up and going for people, the different sizes. And I'm sitting here thinking, all right, there's portable, there's probably small, medium, large, or however. But let's let Carlos talk about it because he knows.
like you said, our bread and butter is asphalt plants. We plant plants from the sizes of 60 ton an hour up to 425 tons per hour, both stationary and portable. Um, we have three different models. Our SPL, which is a parallel float plant, Road Builder, which is another parallel flow plant, and then we have two counterflow plants, which is our EX series and our Mile Maker series. The EX series is a single drum counterflow plant, and the Mile Maker is a two drum system. Both are uh, capable of producing up to 50% or mixed with up to 50% wrap in them. So the SPL and the Road Builder are used mostly now in like Latin America. Some places they're still allowing wet wash plants, maybe in Canada, some places. I mean, the road builder can be retrofitted with a bag house as well, but the parallel flow design is what's not as popular in North America as it was before.
Now, also, what about aggregate dryers? Is that something you guys are into, and what are those used for? What applications?
Well, aggregate dryers can be used in fracking industry, mining, agriculture, drying anything from sand to lime to gypsum, soils, and we build dryers from that are in the same size range as our asphalt plant, so from 60 to 450 ton an hour. Uh, is what we do, and we sell a lot to the fracking industry for drying sand.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so that's a whole separate deal. That's good to know. Now, lastly, I understand you guys also carry a line of concrete sand heaters. How are those beneficial?
So the sand heaters are used in the cold states, cold weather states here in Canada, so to help warm up the sand. They'll bring the temperature up of the sand about 100 degrees Fahrenheit from where it is, and that helps when you're making concrete in the wintertime, to basically eliminate the use of hot water when you're making that mix. Uh, so sand tends to retain heat a lot longer than water. It's also the heat transfer is also more efficient because it's not only is it direct, right, but because of just the natural state of things, I guess, water and sand. Um, but we do sell those from typically in the wintertime, right before winter, all through winter, and then we start back up with our asphalt plants. It's kind of a filler for production. It's how they started, but they have been more popular nowadays that we're actually advertising them and marketing them.
Right, right. So cost wise, and this is just you and I talking now. We don't have to let any cats out of the bag. Concrete versus asphalt. That's always for a homeowner. That's always a big question, because there was a time there was such a price discrepancy. There was a huge difference, but it's not quite as huge as it was. And asphalt is much better than it was 25 years ago, from what I understand. It's more resilient. It can take more. I'm a homeowner. I've got a 400-foot driveway. Is there an advantage of asphalt over concrete, or what do you think?
It depends, I think, on the hole gamma of the project. I prefer, I guess, if I was a homeowner and I was going to build my driveway from zero. Mine's concrete, right? So we'll start with that. But mine was put in by the builder. I didn't get to choose what it was. Concrete tends to look, I don't know. I don't know that I want to say nicer, but it tends to be look more normal in a subdivision. Where out, maybe out if you have your own land, the asphalt driveway just looks better. I think. I mean, that's what I would put in, would be an asphalt driveway, simply because of the flexibility. It doesn't deteriorate. I guess in the wintertime, concrete will tend to break up more if it gets water in it. It'll get more stress cracking. It's, I don't know how maintenance is on concrete, but asphalt is relatively easily repaired. Uh, you know, and concrete usually requires a complete tear down and a rebuild, basically. So, yeah. Another thing about asphalt compared to concrete is the biggest thing is like on the highways, the noise.
Yes, absolutely. That is a definite thought in that. Definitely for sure. Yes. Carlos, I greatly appreciate your time. I have been educated. There were some things in here that I did know and a lot of things I didn't know. I want to give you the opportunity to tell everybody first exactly where you located and then talk about your website or social media, phone numbers, and all of that on how people can reach you to learn more about the ADM products.
Oh, well, Asphalt Drum Mixers is located in the state of Indiana, in a small town north of Fort Wayne. And if you don't know where Fort Wayne is, it is north of Indianapolis. So we've been here for since the 70s, and we can be reached at always on the phone, 260-637-5729. Our website is www.admasphaltplants.com. And we do have a LinkedIn page, a Facebook page, and a Twitter page as well. And they're all linked together. So you also, if you find me on LinkedIn, if you follow me, I always post everything I post on my LinkedIn gets posted on the ADM website, and vice versa, right? So,
Carlos, thank you so much for your time today. We greatly appreciate it. This has been very informative, and I know our listeners are going to enjoy it. Thanks a bunch.
thank you, Troy, for having me. Appreciate it. Hope we can do it again.